Welcome to the deep dive. So let me ask you this. What are you learning right now? Maybe tackling a new skill for work, or finally trying to get conversational in Spanish, or maybe just trying to keep your brain sharp in this, incredibly fast-paced world we're in. We all feel that pull, that need to learn and grow. Today, we're aiming to cut through all the noise about how to learn. We want to give you a shortcut, really, to being well-informed on learning better, faster, and more effectively. We've gathered a whole stack of sources digging into neuroscience, habit formation, the future of education, language learning, all sorts of things. The goal, to uncover the best strategies for lifelong learning and, personal mastery. We'll explore how our brains actually absorb information, why stories have such a grip on us, how to really understand fast native speakers, the crucial mix of skills you need today, the science of habits, and where education itself is heading. Think of this as a guide for the learner, and you helping you get knowledge quickly, deeply, get those aha moments without feeling, totally swamped. Ready? Let's jump in. Okay, so let's get right into it. Vocabulary. For so many of us, learning new words, whether for a language or a technical subject, just feels like endless flashcards, right? Like brute force is the only way. But the sources we looked at suggest there's a much better way. Maybe even, dare I say, a more intuitive way. It's less about just recalling words, more about connecting them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And the neuroscience behind it is really fascinating. Our brains, they don't just store words like entries in a dictionary. It's more like when we learn words in a rich context using multiple senses, our brain treats it almost like a lived experience. So instead of just the word apple, you're maybe picturing it, thinking about the taste, the crunch. It becomes multidimensional. This isn't that old school rote memorization. It's about embedding the vocabulary deep into your neural networks, building stronger pathways. And our sources really hammer this home. Active recall, like testing your self-visualization, writing things down, and crucially, actually using the words in conversation. Doing this daily in context, that's what makes words stick. Your brain sees them as important, useful information, not just abstract data points.
Right. So by weaving new words into our actual lives, our brains go, okay, this is important. Let's hang on to this. That clicks. And this idea of immersion, this sort of holistic approach, it's not just for single words, is it? It must be fundamental for really getting a language, especially understanding, say, native English speakers when they talk really fast. That's such a common frustration. How do you train your ear for that speed and all the accents and stuff?
A lot of it comes down to understanding the sort of hidden rules of connected speech. It's like a secret code native speakers use without even thinking. When people talk quickly, words don't sound like they do when you say them slowly and carefully. Our sources talk about things like elision. That's where sounds get dropped. Like going to becomes gonna. It just smooths things out.
Okay, yeah, like wanna for want to.
Exactly. Then there's assimilation, where sounds change based on what's next to them. A classic is did you, often sounding like do.
Yeah.
D and yi sounds kind of blend together.
I hear that all the time. Did you eat yet?
Precisely. And linking, where the end of one word flows right into the next, like saying an apple, almost like an apple. Add the stress-timed rhythm of English, where we emphasize some syllables and rush over others, and you see it's actually a pretty complex soundscape. Native speakers just navigate it automatically.
So it's like learning the underlying music, not just the individual notes. That Jesuit example really shows elision and assimilation working together, doesn't it? Just making it flow faster. Okay, so how do learners crack this code? What do the sources recommend?
Well, there are some really effective techniques. Shadowing is a big one. That's where you literally mimic a speaker in real time, repeating what they say almost as they say it. It trains your ear and your mouth. You actually feel how the sounds connect and flow.
So you're kind of physically internalizing the rhythm and the sound changes?
Exactly. Another technique is chunking. Instead of trying to process a whole long sentence at once, you break it down mentally into smaller, meaningful phrases or chunks. Makes it way less overwhelming. And beyond that, it's about exposure, getting familiar with different accents, common idioms, even the cultural stuff behind the language. Technology can definitely help here too. Using subtitles smartly, maybe watching once with, once without. There are even browser extensions for Netflix, specifically for language learning. Transcription tools can help too, letting you see the words while you hear them. The key, though, is using these as tools to build your skill, not as crutches you end up depending on, like training wheels for your ears.
Training wheels for your ears. I like that. Seeing the patterns instead of just hearing a blur. Okay, so let's shift gears a bit from sounds and words to bigger narratives, stories. We all love a good story, right? A gripping book, a movie, even just a friend telling you about their crazy day. But our sources suggest stories impact our brains and how we communicate way more deeply than just entertainment.
Oh, absolutely. And the question is why? Why are they so powerful? It's not just that they're fun. The sources explain that stories activate way more of our brain than just, say, processing facts. They light up sensory areas, emotional centers. It makes the information more vivid, more memorable. It sticks. What's really amazing is thinking of stories as like the brain's preferred operating system for handling complex information. There's this concept called neural coupling. It sounds technical, but it basically means the storyteller's brain activity and the listener's brain activity start to synchronize.
Wait, synchronize, like our brains are literally getting on the same wavelength.
Kind of, yeah. Imagine the storyteller feels an emotion, suspense, joy, whatever their brain patterns reflect that. And remarkably, the listener's brain starts showing similar patterns. You're not just hearing the story, you're feeling it vicariously. This creates a shared experience, builds empathy, trust. It makes communication incredibly effective, whether it's in teaching, business, or just connecting with people.
Neural coupling. Wow, that's fascinating. So if our brains are syncing up, does that mean certain ways of telling stories work better for achieving that connection? What makes a story really land?
Definitely. The sources point to some key ingredients. Things like relatable heroes you can root for, clear conflicts that create tension, emotional depth, a solid structure beginning, middle, and vivid details that help you picture it, and universal themes that resonate with shared human experiences. And it's interesting to see how storytelling is adapting too, isn't it? With digital media, AI, we're seeing interactive stories, super short micro stories on social media. It's a timeless tool that keeps evolving.
So stories are how our brains make sense of things. It makes you wonder how we can use that narrative power in our own lives, especially when we do something big, something really perspective shifting, like studying abroad. Moving from stories we tell to stories we live, our sources really highlighted the benefits of that kind of experience.
Yeah, and connecting it back, studying abroad, is way more than just getting credits, right? The sources show this profound expansion of cultural understanding. You start seeing the world and your own assumptions differently. It forces independence, builds resilience. You're navigating a totally new place, solving problems on your own, often without your usual safety net. Language skills obviously get a huge boost through that immersion, and you build these incredible global networks, friendships, and connections that can last a lifetime. Plus, the career advantages are significant. Specialized programs, internships, but also just showing employers you can adapt. You have cross-cultural skills. That's huge in today's world.
It sounds like a real catalyst for growth, like stepping into a new chapter of your own story. But realistically, it can't all be amazing adventures, can it? What about the challenges? Money, culture shock? Does the research offer tips for navigating those hurdles?
You're right. It's definitely not always easy, and the sources acknowledge that. Financial hurdles are real for many. Culture shock can be intense. Language barriers, dealing with bureaucracy in another country. These are genuine difficulties. But what's interesting is the emphasis on preparation, having good support systems in place, and maybe most importantly, having a resilient mindset, being willing to be uncomfortable sometimes. The research consistently suggests that actually overcoming these challenges is where a lot of the deepest personal and professional growth happens. Those struggles forge independence, adaptability. They make you a more capable global citizen, really.
Embracing the challenge for the growth it brings, that's a powerful idea. And it links nicely to being equipped for, well, life and work today. We hear so much about skills, but what are we really talking about? Why do we need both soft and hard skills?
Yeah, the sources make this distinction really clear. Hard skills are the technical things, right?
Right.
The measurable stuff. Coding, knowing accounting principles, operating specific software or machinery. They're the what you can do. Absolutely necessary to get a job done. But soft skills, those are the interpersonal, emotional, cognitive abilities. Things like communication, teamwork, adaptability, problem solving, emotional intelligence, leadership, managing your time, being creative. These are the skills that drive how you work with others, how you influence people, how you handle complexity, and ultimately how you advance in your career.
Okay, so it's not just what you know, but how you use it and how you interact. How do they work together, though? Are they totally separate?
No, not at all. That's the crucial point. From the sources, they're interdependent. They boost each other. Think about it. You could be the most brilliant engineer, amazing hard skills, but if you can't communicate your ideas clearly, or work well in a team, or adapt when the project changes, your technical skills don't have the same impact, do they?
Right, your brilliance gets stuck.
Exactly. And the reverse is true too. Great communication is valuable, but you also need the technical chops to actually deliver results in many roles. So mastering a soft skill like communication makes your hard skills more effective in a team setting. Developing problem solving helps you apply your technical knowledge in new ways. It's a constant interplay. Strategic development of both is key. Hard skills might get you hired, but soft skills often determine how far you go.
That makes perfect sense. A truly holistic view of competence. Now, speaking of development, let's talk habits. We all want good ones. We all struggle with bad ones. We often blame willpower or lack of it. But our sources dive into the science, and it sounds like willpower isn't the whole story.
Not even close, really. What's so fascinating is that habits aren't primarily driven by conscious willpower, which we know is a limited resource. It gets tired. Habits run on a different system. It's this clear loop: cue, routine, reward. And this loop gets automated, etched into our brains, specifically in a part called the basal ganglia. Our sources talk about neural chunking. It's like your brain takes a sequence of actions, the routine, and collapses it into a single automatic chunk, so you don't have to think about each step.
Like driving a familiar route, you just arrive.
Exactly. Your basal ganglia handles the driving. And what fuels this loop makes you crave doing the routine when you see the cue: dopamine. That anticipation of the reward. So willpower is like trying to swim upstream against this powerful current. Habit science is about figuring out how to redirect the current itself.
Redirect the river, not fight it. I like that analogy. So practically speaking, how do we use this understanding of the cue, routine, reward loop and neural chunking?
The sources offer really practical strategies. Things like designing your environment, making cues for good habits obvious, and cues for bad habits invisible or difficult. Adding friction to bad habits. Habit stacking is another powerful one. You link a new habit you want to form onto an existing one you already do automatically. Like, after I brush my teeth existed a few, I will meditate for 1 minute new routine. Using rewards effectively is key, but often intrinsic rewards, the feeling of satisfaction itself, work best long term. Tracking progress helps build momentum too. And one of the most profound ideas is identity peak habits. Instead of focusing on the action like I want to run, you focus on the identity. I am a runner.
How does that shift make such a difference?
It taps into our fundamental need for self-consistency. If you see yourself as a runner, skipping a run feels inconsistent with who you are. It's less about forcing yourself with willpower and more about acting in alignment with your identity. It builds incredible resilience. Even breaking bad habits uses the same science. Identify the cue, consciously choose a different routine that provides a similar reward, reduce exposure to the cue, add friction to the old routine. But the underlying message is consistency over intensity and self-compassion. You'll slip up. The key is just get back on track. It's a long game.
It's amazing to think we can consciously shape these automatic loops in our brain, not just for learning facts, but for building the very behaviors that support learning and growth. It really feels empowering. Are there certain habits that have like a ripple effect, keystone habits?
Yes, definitely. The research often highlights keystone habits like regular exercise, getting enough quality sleep, and consistent planning or reflection. These seem to act like catalysts. When you nail one of these, it often triggers a positive cascade. You eat better, you have more focus, you're more productive. They provide a solid foundation for building other positive changes in your life.
Wow. An incredible toolkit, really, for personal change, from the tiny neural level of habits right up to our overall lives. Okay, so we have these tools, but we also need to understand the landscape we're learning in. Which brings us to online education. It's exploded. What are the big takeaways from our sources on this revolution?
The biggest takeaway is just the sheer scale of the shift. Online education has fundamentally changed who can learn, when, and where. The access is unprecedented. Flexibility is obviously huge. Affordability can be a major factor compared to traditional routes. And personalization is becoming increasingly sophisticated. Think multimedia content, making things more engaging, AI adapting the learning path to your specific needs and pace, and something really important is the rise of micro-credentials.
Micro-credentials. Tell me more about those. Are they like mini degrees or certificates?
Exactly like that. Think of them as focused digital badges almost. They certify you've mastered a very specific skill. Maybe it's data analysis with a certain tool, or digital marketing techniques, or project management for agile teams. They're often much quicker to earn than a full degree, highly targeted to job market needs, and let people continuously upskill or pivot throughout their careers. It really helps democratize access to specific, valuable skills.
That does sound powerful, making learning more modular and responsive. But it can't all be perfect, right? What are the downsides or challenges that the sources point out with this online shift?
No, it's definitely not without its challenges. Social isolation is a common concern. Learners missing the face-to-face interaction and sense of community you get on campus. The digital divide is a huge issue too. Not everyone has reliable internet access or the necessary devices or digital literacy skills. Quality can also be really variable across different online programs. And for some fields, especially those requiring hands-on practice, purely online learning has limitations. Plus, there are always ongoing concerns about data privacy and security with online platforms. It's a powerful tool, but needs careful thought and implementation.
Okay, so balancing the massive potential with these real-world challenges, given all that, what's the prediction? Where is this heading? Is it all online or something else?
The consensus from the sources really point towards hybrid models, blending the best of both worlds. Using online platforms for flexibility, accessibility, maybe delivering core content, but integrating that with in-person components for collaboration, hands-on labs, community building, deeper discussions. This seems to offer the most robust and effective approach for many situations. The global case studies show these models working effectively across different contexts. And the key focus moving forward seems to be on ensuring equity, bridging that digital divide, prioritizing student well-being in online environments, and continued innovation to make the experience even better and more inclusive.
What a journey we've been on. From the neurons firing when we learn a word, to the global landscape of online learning, and all the tools like storytelling and habit formation in between. So if we pull it all together, the core message seems clear. Lifelong learning isn't just a nice idea anymore, it's essential. And it needs to be balanced, engaged, using technology smartly, connecting with others. It's less about innate talent and more about consistent, intentional practice. Hopefully this deep dive has given you a solid toolkit, a better understanding of the how behind effective learning for your own path, whether that's personal passion, career growth, or just staying curious. And here's a final thought to leave you with. If our brains literally synchronize through neural coupling when we hear a compelling story, what story are you telling yourself about your own learning journey? How can you shape that narrative to be the most engaging, memorable, and ultimately the most transformative story you'll ever live?
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. If you're looking to really cut through the noise and get straight to the knowledge that elevates your game, you're definitely in the right place. Today, we're diving deep into elevating mastery, language growth, and professional excellence, specifically Part 2. Think of this as your essential roadmap, packed with insights, actionable steps, all for thriving today. We're going to unpack 5 critical pillars. They really combine for a powerful pathway to success. We'll explore advanced English fluency, like really moving beyond the basics. Then the surprising psychology behind sustained motivation, the nuanced art of influence, how to navigate global career trends, and finally, how technology isn't just a tool, but a catalyst for growth. Our mission for you today, simple. Equip you with innovative, practical approaches you can use immediately to supercharge your journey. Okay, let's unpack this first pillar. We all know English is important, right?
Yeah.
But how do we move past just basic vocabulary and understanding to achieve that truly native-like fluency, that effortless expression? Expert, what's one technique from the research that really moves the needle beyond flashcards?
Yeah, it's a fantastic question. And what's fascinating is the research pushes us way beyond, traditional methods. One technique that really stands out, it's almost like neural mimicry, is immersive shadowing.
Immersive shadowing. Okay.
Yeah, it's not just passive listening, it's actively, immediately mimicking native speakers, their intonation, rhythm, even those little micro expressions you see. Imagine repeating lines from a podcast or a movie, maybe even a live conversation, like right after you hear them. Your brain sort of starts tricking itself into processing language like a native, often better than years of just studying.
That sounds incredibly effective, but also maybe quite demanding.
It can be, yeah.
For someone with a packed schedule, is it all or nothing? Or can you sort of microdose it?
Oh, absolutely you can microdose it. Even short bursts, if you're consistent, are really powerful. And you can pair that with something like linguistic improvisation. That can be transformative too.
Linguistic improvisation. Tell me more.
It's about building spontaneous expression, not just memorize phrases, right? Think role-playing scenarios or just freestyling about your day out loud. There are apps like ELSA or Cambly that give you structured ways to practice this. Build that real-time conversation muscle.
Okay.
And of course, tech is a huge game changer here. AI tools like Grammarly or DeepL Specialized speech analysis apps, they give you immediate personalized feedback, pronunciation, grammar, even your style.
Right.
And don't underestimate engaging with niche online communities like on Discord or Reddit. You can practice very specific jargon tech, law, gaming, whatever your field is, makes your fluency really practical.
Context specific.
Exactly. And here's a really compelling insight from the data. Just 20 minutes a day, high intensity practice can improve fluency by 30% in just 3 months.
Wow, 30% in 3 months. That's significant.
It is. And a crucial point, fluency isn't just linguistic, it's deeply cultural too. It means understanding humor, slang, emotional nuance, and using them right. It's about connecting, human to human, not just swapping words.
That statistic, the 20 minutes one, is genuinely surprising. So, okay, how do we make this work? If listeners wanted to take just one actionable step today from this research, what's the most impactful strategy?
I'd say the most impactful step is to create what the research calls a language immersion bubble.
Okay, a bubble.
Yeah. Deliberately curate your digital environment. Switch YouTube subs to English channels. Follow native speakers on X. Use AI apps like SpeechLink consistently for feedback. Then, just 15 minutes daily, try a talk aloud journal.
Talk aloud journal.
Yeah, just narrate your day, your thoughts, plans, whatever, all in English, out loud. This consistent low-stakes practice fundamentally shifts how your brain processes the language internally.
That makes so much sense. It's like a mental workout. Okay, so fluent English is fantastic. But let's be real. That initial excitement for any new skill,
Right.
it fades, right? We all hit that wall. How do we maintain the drive? Keep going when the novelty wears off and it becomes, well, a grind.
Right, and this is where the psychology of motivation becomes like your secret weapon. The sources really point to self-determination theory. It's not just willpower. It's about building 3 core pillars for sustained motivation. You need autonomy,
Okay.
meaning you choose your learning path. Then competence, that feeling of making progress.
Right, seeing results.
Exactly. And finally, relatedness, that vital support from a community. When you have all 3, your motivation becomes really robust.
Autonomy, competence, relatedness.
Got it. And what's really clever is how gamification can hack our reward systems. Think apps like Duolingo or Habitica. They're not just making learning fun, they turn sustained effort into like a compulsive habit. Streaks, badges, leaderboards.
Yeah, those streets can be powerful.
They really can. It keeps us engaged when, our natural enthusiasm dips.
So it sounds like motivation is personal, but also needs strategy. But what about those really tough days? When even visualizing the goal isn't cutting it, does the research offer any quick fixes or ways to reignite the spark?
It does. It highlights understanding the difference between intrinsic motivators, your internal drivers like growth, curiosity.
Right.
Those are your long-term fuel. And extrinsic ones like external rewards or grades. Intrinsic lasts longer, but combining both strategically, that can actually maximize drive. Small external rewards for micro wins can keep you going until that intrinsic motivation kicks back in. And yeah, visualize the big goals, delivering that TED Talk, but also celebrate the tiny wins, mastering 10 new phrases today. That counts.
Okay.
The data shows learners with clear why statements like, I want to connect globally, they persist 40% longer.
40%.
Yeah. And critically, reframe failure. See them as feedback, not setbacks. That keeps the momentum going.
That's a powerful mental shift. Okay, so to build this motivational scaffolding into our lives, what's the actionable strategy?
Start by crafting a personal mission statement. Not just an idea, but like your anchor. Something like, I learned to inspire others, or I learned to expand my worldview. Make it yours.
Okay, write it down.
Exactly. Then use focus apps, maybe like Forest, to stay on task. And crucially, join communities online, maybe something like Toastmasters offline, for accountability and that relatedness factor. And when you reward yourself, choose experiences, a trip, a workshop, not just things. Those memories reinforce the journey more deeply.
Experiences over things. I like that. Okay, so our motivation's fueled, language skills are improving. Let's talk connection. Leading. We're not just learning for ourselves, right?
Yeah.
We want to impact the world. So how do we master this art of influence? Communicate effectively, inspire people. It feels like a superpower.
It really is. And what's interesting here is that influence is way more than just good storytelling. The sources really emphasize active listening. That's critical.
Active listening.
Reflecting what you hear, paraphrasing to check understanding, asking truly open-ended questions. It's about making the other person feel genuinely heard. That builds trust, builds rapport. It's foundational. And we absolutely cannot ignore nonverbal communication. eye contact, posture, gestures. According to UCLA research, this accounts for an astonishing 55% of perceived credibility.
55%. Wow. More than half.
More than half. Think about that. How trustworthy you seem often outweighs the words you use.
That's staggering. So it's not just what we say, but how we say it and how we listen.
Exactly. And beyond that, the advice is to tailor your message to your audience's specific values. It goes back to Aristotle, ethos for credibility, pathos for emotion, logos for logic.
The classics.
Right. And practice framing how you present ideas. Don't pitch a project as just a cost. Frame it as a growth opportunity. That shift can change everything.
I mean, that's
And digital platforms naturally amplify all this. Micro content, short X posts, sharp LinkedIn articles can reach thousands if they're concise and emotional resonant. But here's the key distinction the research makes. True influence. It grows through authenticity and consistency, not manipulation.
Right.
People are smart. They respond to genuine engagement, integrity.
And knowing that authentic influence versus manipulation is so important, especially online. But how do we actually stay authentic when there's pressure to perform, to build a brand? Is there a practical way to practice this?
Absolutely. The actionable strategy here is about consistent practice. Practice one persuasive technique each day. Monday, storytelling. Tuesday, active listening. Wednesday, finding.
Okay, make it a habit.
Exactly. Then, this is crucial, record yourself pitching an idea. Analyze your own delivery, your nonverbals, word choice. Then refine it. Get feedback from peers, or even AI tools like Udly can analyze your style. Helps you become more natural, more authentic.
Okay, so practice, record, refine. Got it. So with all these skills, fluency, motivation, influence, what does it all mean for our careers?
Yeah.
In a world that's just constantly changing, how do we adapt and really thrive with these global trends? It feels like the ground's always shifting.
It definitely feels that way sometimes. And this is where understanding the landscape is, critical. The rise of remote work. It's not just a blip. It's fundamental. It demands digital fluency, serious time management, sophisticated virtual collaboration skills.
Yeah.
Gartner predicts 70% of companies will use hybrid models by 2026. These aren't nice to haves anymore. They're baseline.
70%.
And then you've got the expanding gig economy. It really rewards freelancers with highly specialized niche skills. Think about new roles like AI prompt engineering or ESG consulting. Deep, specific expertise is gold.
Right, specialization.
And maybe the most crucial trend, AI augmented roles. This isn't about machines replacing us. It's about collaboration.
Okay.
The research is clear. Humans are needed for the things AI can't do. Creativity, critical thinking, empathy, these uniquely human skills, they become premium. That's where you focus.
That reframes the whole AI discussion, doesn't it? Less fear, more opportunity.
Exactly. So upskilling is non-negotiable. Platforms like Coursera, Udemy, pairing those with micro-credentials like Google's data analytics certificate hugely boosts employability. The sources also stress global mobility, professionals with cross-cultural experience, 25% more likely to land leadership roles.
Wow.
And of course, build your personal brand. Use X, LinkedIn. Showcase your expertise, your adaptability to a global audience.
Those are really tangible trends. So for an actionable strategy here, how can listeners pinpoint which skills to focus on and then, importantly, showcase them effectively?
Great question. Showcasing is key. First, identify just one high-demand skill in your field. Maybe it's Python for tech, maybe advanced negotiation for business. Nail it down.
Just one to start.
Just one. Then dedicate maybe 10 hours to really mastering it via online courses. But don't stop there. Showcase it. Build a project on GitHub. Write a detailed post on X about what you learned, how you applied it.
Make it visible.
Precisely. And network. Aim to connect with one new professional each week. Small, consistent steps build momentum and, crucially, visibility.
Okay, identify, master, showcase, network. Simple steps. Finally, let's talk about the accelerator, technology. How does tech weave through all these areas, language, motivation, careers, acting as this powerful growth catalyst? And yet it feels like there's a new tool every single day.
Yeah, it does. And this raises that important question. How do we use these tools effectively without just getting overwhelmed? The research shows AI personalization is a real game changer. It literally tailors learning content to your pace, your style. Think adaptive quizzes on Khan Academy Or AI tutors like Socratic giving tuned explanations.
Right. Personalized learning paths.
Exactly. And then there's virtual reality, VR. It offers incredible simulations. Imagine practicing public speaking on a virtual TED stage, or immersing yourself in a digital city for cultural practice.
That sounds amazing.
The data's compelling, too. VR language practice can improve retention by 35%. AI coaching can cut learning time by 20%.
Wow. Real numbers.
These aren't just futuristic ideas. They're here now delivering results. We're not just consuming content. We're experiencing it, so it sticks.
Experiencing it. Yeah, that's different.
And data analytics helps track your progress with amazing precision. It can spot specific gaps like weak pronunciation patterns and suggest targeted fixes. Looking ahead, things like blockchain-based credentials will ensure verifiable skills too. More trust with employers.
Okay.
But a crucial caution from the sources. Balance tech with real human interaction. The future is seamless human-tech integration, not tech isolation. Avoid the distraction, the burnout.
That balance is absolutely key. Be intentional with the tools. So what's the actionable strategy for listeners to harness tech as a catalyst without letting it, take over?
Experiment wisely. Try one new tool a week. Maybe a VR app like Immerse for Language, maybe a Notion for habit tracking. See what works for you.
One new tool a week. Manageable.
Yeah. But just as important, set clear boundaries. No screens an hour before bed, for example. It's about using tech as a powerful, intentional tool, not letting it become a constant distraction.
Wow. Okay. We have covered so much ground today. This deep dive really has woven together advanced language mastery, psych insights on motivation, the art of influence, adapting to career trends, and harnessing tech. It's a really comprehensive look at excelling today.
And if there's one common thread, I think it's this idea of proactive, integrated learning. It's about being strategic, deliberately blending intentional practice, finding supportive communities, and leveraging these cutting-edge tools. That's how you turn challenges into amazing opportunities for growth. Continuous.
Absolutely. In a world that's always changing, those who learn fast, adapt boldly, and connect authentically, they won't just survive. They'll lead. And you now have the tools, the insights, the strategies from this research to make that happen. Yeah. So here's the final thought. Given all these powerful tools and strategies we've talked about, what single small step will you take starting today to intentionally integrate just one new learning practice into your life? Knowing that consistency, that's the real catalyst for your future self's thriving. Think about it and then go do it. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.